This one's just gonna be a bit of a ramble because I mean we're right on the precipice now. It is literally one day before everything changes. Like 24 hours from now, people will be at home basically playing their Switch 2s. Everybody's gonna be playing their Mario Karts. Everybody's just they're gonna be playing Deltarune and whatever else comes out on the Switch day one, all the updates, Scarlet and Violet's getting its update, ARMS, people are going to be revisiting ARMS, which is such a crazy thing to think in the big 2025, but here we are on the edge of change for the gaming atmosphere for a good minute, and it's so wild to think, because this is the longest by and far, I think, that we've been on a console for a generation. We've had the Switch for so long now that, we would always consider, like, the future and, better possibilities and stuff like that. But after a while, it just doesn't seem real. You get what I'm saying? Like, we were always playing all of these different games, right? Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, Zelda, Kirby, whatever. And we were always thinking like, oh man, this game is so fun. I wonder what it would look like if it did have access to stronger hardware and they were able to utilize that and put that, implement those changes, and literally by tomorrow, we'll be able to see that change. It's here. Like, it's just so baffling to me to think about that, and there's just, I have nothing but excitement right now. Nothing but excitement. I am just over the moon excited about this damn console. And of course, it's not perfect. We have a lot of internal issues and like, how they're treating the game card situation, how they're treating, like, the mod situation. Like, they can brick your Switch 2 at any given point, and that's just $500 just down the drain, and it'll be damn near impossible to get another one because, again, our political climate is just so miserable right now that we don't know what chance we're gonna have to get another wave. They say next month, but that's a whole month, man. That's 4 entire weeks that something could go wrong. And so, that's why I'm not surprised that so many people went out of their way to get this Switch 2s like they did, because they didn't think they would probably even have another chance to get one. And I'm within that same realm. And it's just so crazy to think about. But here we are, Switch 2s are getting, everybody's losing their minds and panicking because Switch 2s are getting sold out and cut out everywhere, and, I have a Switch 2 pre-order ready to go, but I want to play it safe. I'm literally going to go to my local GameStop at the earliest possible time, and I'm going to wait there for like 5-6 hours ahead of time, just so I can secure another one, so I can, make sure I have it, because I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna lose my mind if I don't, because I can't take the risk of having something happen to mine and, or the one that I have ordered right now for delivery. I can't take the risk of something happening to that and then just not having a Switch, and I'm out $500, because then I gotta watch everybody on the internet play Mario Kart. I have nothing. There is nothing worse for me. Nothing worse than video game FOMO. I cannot handle my video game FOMO. It is insanely bad. It is so bad. And if I have to watch all of my favorite streamers, all of the people that I watch, the content creators, play Mario Kart and all that and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and they're all having a good time, and I can't even like play it for myself, I have to sit there and watch it, I might just end it all. Like, I'm half kidding. Like, I might like at least I'm gonna cry just watching that, because I can't handle it. It's so bad. But that's what's crazy, right? Like, people were talking for so long about how, like, oh, the Switch 2, it's not gonna be worth it. I don't want the Switch 2. You know, it's such a waste of money and time and yada yada yada. Then why was every single retailer selling out within seconds of the pre-order going live? That shouldn't be possible if that many people really didn't want the Switch 2 that bad. If you really didn't want it, then get the hell out the way for the people that do. For the people that do want to play these games. For the people that are excited. Because it's okay to be excited. It's okay to look forward to a console that has games that you're looking forward to on it. There's nothing wrong with that. And anybody that tells you otherwise is a sore loser, is a sad sap, dog. Get them out the way. Push them out of the way if you need to. And go enjoy your Switch 2 when you can get your hands on one. Because you deserve it, not them. And you know, during a time like this, I just couldn't help but look back a little bit on the Switch 1 era, which was such a shift. Such a major shift, right? Because don't get me wrong, I, for the most part, definitely considered myself something of a Nintendo fan well before the Switch, right? I grew up on Game Boy and stuff like that. You know, I was playing my fair share of, like, you know, what, Pokemon was the first game I ever played. Pokemon Yellow was the first game I ever played in my life, I'm pretty sure. And then, you know, eventually I made my way to, you know, some of the other consoles. I did skip the GameCube era unintentionally. I didn't mean to do that. I just didn't understand consoles and all that at the time. I just, you know, I saw a game that looked pretty and I wanted to play it by any means necessary. And so eventually, you know, I got my hands on the Wii and, you know, whatever. It was just downhill from there. And then eventually, like everybody, you know, I got my hands on the Wii U. Not everybody, I guess, like nobody. I got my hands on the Wii U. And, you know, I had an okay time with it, you know. But I didn't realize how common my situation was with the Wii U. Which was, it had nothing to play. There was literally no reason to play your Wii U. If there was a third-party game coming out, and the Wii U was getting that version, there was absolutely no reason to get the Wii U version if you had a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox, right? Or a PS4, I guess, at the time. And so, you know, everybody and their mothers watched as their Wii U's just collected dust and nobody touched it. And even when Smash 4 came out, you know, finally, because we'd already had it for a good while on the 3DS at that point, and they finally dropped it on Wii U. It took way, way too long for that to happen, right? And then just like, I don't know, any game that mattered, it simply took too long. And so that put Nintendo in such a bad rut that they had to switch things up entirely. Ironically, they needed to switch it up. I wouldn't even be surprised if somebody said we need, like, I could definitely see some developers or some people in-house saying, like, guys, we got to switch things up. And somebody said, say that again. And they hit the off-brand Reed Richards. Say that again. and the Switch was born type situation. You know, the NX was born, right? They pulled out all the stops and they made sure to essentially capitalize on every possible mistake they made with the Wii U, and you gotta respect that, right? You gotta respect that the Switch was everything that the Wii U wasn't, for the most part. You know, obviously it was missing some aesthetic detail, you know, in terms of like how they treated the Miis and, you know, the home menus and the vibes and, you know, free online and NSO and stuff like that. You know, there were definitely a balance of positive and negative shifts, but more so positive, because they said, okay, we need to get simple and we need to get these games out there. You got to remember, their focus wasn't necessarily as much on the hardware in of itself, because again, the Wii U wasn't that strong. It was the gimmick. that they just needed to make work, and that was all that mattered. Which is why when the first wave of Switches, went out, everybody was, having so many different problems with screen scratches from their docks, and they were having, like the fan issues that everybody. I had issues with my fan too. My issues were very similar. I definitely had the same situation where my Switch would get so hot it would be unbearable. And that just kind of goes to show that they really they got the gimmick down. They just barely got it to work, and we're like, okay. They were like, we need to make this change up right now. Make sure we have games that look appealing and fun to people to play on, and we need to go. We need to run it now, like yesterday. And they pulled out all the stops that they could to make sure that everybody and their mamas had a Switch in their hand, and they damn near succeeded. They damn near succeeded in making Nintendo a household name again, in making sure that everybody and their mamas could get their hands on this little hybrid home console / portable console. And it was truly a majesty to behold, because we got such a good era out of the Switch, despite the hiccups, with a couple of things here and there. The Switch era was one of Nintendo's best, if not Nintendo's best. There's really no denying that, even though I don't know if it outsold the Wii yet, or even the 3DS, but the Switch it was too strong to not put that above their previous eras, right? Don't get me wrong, the Wii era, absolutely classic. It redefined gaming and motion controls and everything. The 3DS, or the DS in general, same thing, They always find a way to reinvent. They always find a way to change things up and make things unique and fun and just fresh. They always have managed to do that, and the Switch was no different, but it did things in a way that we were not prepared for. It has literally everything that its predecessors had, but stronger, better, And the Switch 2 is going to do exactly that, but they definitely made sure not to make the same mistake as the Wii U in advertising. They made sure to let us know, yes, this is not just another Switch. This is going to be worth your time, because it's actually genuinely going to be the better console, the stronger console, the faster console, and everything you love about the previous console, but simply better. And that's great. That's great. They've really learned from all of their mistakes, and I'm very, very happy that they did so. And that's super awesome, right? And, again, with the video games in of themselves as proof, they really have learned, because what did the Wii U even start with, right? The Wii U started with Wind Waker HD. That's it. That's kind of it, right? The Nintendo Land, I don't even remember. It really did have nothing, I'm telling you. And then, the Switch era was so different. That was a monumental time for gaming, right? We started, my fan turned on right now. We started with Breath of the Wild, which right out the gate was one of the biggest, most well-received open world games of all time. It redefined the open world genre. And then we're getting the games that were supposed to be something of a tech demo, like ARMS, turning into something of a potential franchise for this company, right? I mean, granted, it didn't, but, there was some serious potential, and then, of course, they made sure to get their baby Splatoon off of the Wii U, and they found success for it on the Switch 2 times back to back. They found success for Splatoon again and again, and that is awesome. That's so great for them, right? Because Splatoon is a phenomenal original IP, and I hope it does live for a long time to come. And with every entry that they give us, this is their Call of Duty. right? Splatoon could definitely be looked at as their potential Call of Duty, as opposed, like, it's just not a yearly thing. Like, instead of it being a yearly thing, you know, we get the updates, we get the events, we get the Splatfests and all that. And, you know, Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 both being on the Switch is so unprecedented. It's so crazy to think about. But I'm so happy it happened. You know, and we're getting all of these like genre-defining games. You know, Mario Odyssey was just such a major thing for a first-year release. You know, it's so funny that now that I'm trying to think of all the games that have come out. You know, Kirby. The first Kirby game was Star Allies, and that game, you know, it was good, it was cute, it was fun. I didn't have nearly as much of an attachment to it as I did. Like I would inevitably with Forgotten Land, but for its time, it was a cute, you know, it was a good time, and you know that that was the Switch Kirby game. I remember my first time ever seeing that. I cried, like I bawled, because I was so excited to see my boy again. I was so excited because we didn't get any real, to my memory, we didn't really get any real Kirby games like that on the Wii U, right? We didn't get any major 3D Kirby games. Correct me if I'm wrong, my memory just might suck. But, you know, we went from Kirby's Return to Dreamland on Wii and like Kirby's Epic Yarn and all that, and then the Wii U just had nothing. Obviously because, you know, the company, like, if Sakurai was a part of the team at the time, you know, they were working on, no, I don't think he was, but regardless, the Wii U skipped a lot, right? Because think about it this way. We could have had like a major like Pokemon title on the Wii U, and it would have been fitting as hell. We didn't. We could have had a major Kirby title on the Wii U. We didn't. We could have had a major Zelda title on the Wii U. And we didn't even get that until Breath of the Wild, which was a Switch day one. So, like, a majority of Nintendo's biggest IPs just skipped over the Wii U generation. It skipped over the Wii U era. You know, the only thing we really got was, you know, we got Mario, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U. Yeah, no. Because what the hell do you mean every single one of your biggest IPs didn't get squat outside of Mario? And Mario got the one game that people kind of didn't want because they were so tired of New Super Mario Bros. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. I don't know, dude. That was just absolutely an insane time. And then they were like, all right, let's not make that same mistake with the Wii U. Or with the Switch. So, every single one of y'all, let's get it in gear. And we were getting new Pokemon games, like full generation Pokemon games, new Zelda. We got we got a couple major Zelda games on the Wii U, or on the Switch. We got Metroid back, you know, we got Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime, and that's great, you know, that's awesome. We got multiple Kirby games that redefined what Kirby could be as well. Right? Like, oh man, just what a time. What a time to be a Nintendo fan. It really was just a complete renaissance from what we were used to. And I'm really happy that that's how it turned out to be. So, I really do hope that the future is well with the Switch 2, and that, you know, maybe they could loosen up on a couple of rules, maybe with the whole like bricking your Switch thing. Maybe that's just a threat. I don't think they will, because it shouldn't. It's one thing if people are like, you know, modding it and getting, you know, pirating games. That, okay, fine. Like, I can see why you would want to avoid that at all costs, especially with this new console. Like, okay, I can see the reasoning at least, but like mods, like if somebody decides they want character customization in one of these random games that they decide to mod or whatever, they're gonna get their console bricked over it? That's insane. I've never been a modder like that myself. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm too, there's a word. I don't think I like the term that I'm about to say right now, but like a purist, I guess. I don't know what it is with, like, when it comes to a developed game, like, I've never been a fan of, like, modding it. You know, like, I want to see the developer's original vision. And, you know, there are very special cases in which, like, yeah, okay, like, you know, mods can be really, really neat and cool and stuff like that. But for the most part, I like to see the original creator's vision and play it the way it was intended. I've never been a fan of, like, modding my stuff. So, like, I'm not worried about the whole bricking thing, because that doesn't really apply to me, because I'm not going to do that to my Switch 2. You know? Switch 1, possibly, now that I, you know, can... nah, I'm probably not, I don't even know if I'm going to do that. I'm lazy. But, regardless, you know, we're definitely going to go through some inevitable growing pains with the Switch 2. Hopefully nothing as major as the Switch 1, because the Switch 1 growing pains were insane. Again, those first, like, that first year or two, miserable for, like, day one Switch owners, because we were all cooked because we had the original version of the Switch that just wouldn't work, right? And a lot of people are very, very hesitant to pick up a Switch 2 day one because of that very situation. But what a lot of people don't truly understand is that the Switch 2 has been delayed twice, I think. Like, it was a delay because they wanted to pristine the hell. That's why the whole point of the Switch 1 era being as long as it was because they were working to make sure, A, the scalper situation gets handled much better than it did before, B, that we have games to play, and C, that we get consoles that actually work. That was the entire point of having one of the longest eras of Nintendo we've ever had. So, you know, I'm not trying to convince you, like, yeah, no, your Switch 2 is going to be perfectly fine. No, that's not a guarantee. I can't guarantee that. But I'm saying the point is, for all of that, is that it's less likely. It's less likely for you to get a faulty Switch 2 day one, because they made sure that most of the Switch 2s that they manufactured were in working order. They took their time this time, because they didn't need to rush out the Switch 2. They had no reason to, because they found such great success with the Nintendo Switch originally. So, yeah, they didn't bum rush this one out, and that's something a lot of people don't seem to understand yet. But, you know, eventually, we're gonna see in these couple months, like, oh, okay, yeah, the Switch 2 runs perfectly fine, you know, we'll probably have the same, we're probably not gonna have a situation in which we have to switch out our first Switch console right off the bat or after a couple months because it's overheating or they're exploding or some crazy shit. Like, that's not what's gonna happen here. So, you know, we just got to keep in mind that the whole point of them taking their time and why it took so long to get the Switch 2 was because they were, you know, polishing things up as much as they could. So, you know, don't feel hesitant in terms of, like, I would just recommend, you know, if you do feel like kind of on the edge, you should be okay. And if you're not, that is just genuinely bad luck. I don't know what to tell you. So, here we are, a day away. I'm so excited for the future. I'm so excited for Mario Kart World. I'm so excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm so excited for all of these Switch 2 updates, for Pokemon, for ARMS, for the Zelda games. You know, Legends EA is going to be awesome at the end of the year. Metroid Prime 4 is going to be... that's going to be sexy, man. That's going to be sexy, bro. And it's still crazy to me that we still haven't gotten Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Where... Surely surely a Nintendo Direct will be happening before that, where we get the shadow dropped versions of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, because I haven't played those. It's time. give me my other Metroid games. I need to play those. Give me Other M while you're at it too. Polish that one up. All right, I'll buy it. I don't care. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's $40. I'll get it. I like the look of that game. Jokes aside, we have so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of these different franchises now that they are operating with better hardware too. Splatoon 4 is going to be crazy. If they're updating ARMS, that means they could possibly be looking at a situation where they get an influx of players through this update, and now, you know, people are enjoying it even more. Maybe we get more updates and things like that. I don't know. It could be a Mario Kart 8 situation, right? Where the game is available on Switch 2, but now we get a Switch 2 pass for that, and we get more characters, we get more stages, we get more stuff. And that would be great. That'd be awesome, you know? And don't even get me started on the potential of, like, the next Zelda game, the next major Kirby title, the next Smash. The next Smash is going to be bonkers. Buku bonkers, dog. Oh my god, I can't wait to see them whip it out and just thrust it on the table, type beat. The game's going to be insane. Insane. Kirby Air Riders is going to be fire, phenomenal. The next Zelda title, the next 3D mainline, is going to be the most insane thing we've ever seen and that we've ever laid eyes on. Generation 10 next year for Pokemon is going to be it's going to be stupid, bro. Animal Crossing. Can you imagine the next Animal Crossing? Now that they've learned their mistakes with New Horizons? Yeah. They're gonna cook. They have a lot of potential to cook this generation, and I can't wait to see what they come up with. I'm really excited. I hope that I can get my Switch 2 at a reasonable time. I'll be able to play it and enjoy it. And we'll play it by ear. With that being said, I've yapped for about 30 minutes now. And I've run out of just things to reminisce on because, I mean, granted, no, I haven't. I could reminisce for hours, but we don't need to be here for hours because the Switch 2 is here. It's here. And we're going to be playing Mario Kart. Y'all want some streams? I want to do some streams with Mario Kart. I want to do that. But either way, that's it for me. So I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I need you to tell me what you're thinking right now, because I want to know, are you guys excited for the Switch 2? Yay, nay? You going to be picking it up day one? Yay, nay? Or are you going to be playing Mario Kart World day one? Yay, nay? Deltarune? Any of the updates for Pokemon or ARMS or Zelda? Right? Tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Doing the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment. And consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm Gonzo. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll be seeing you guys for Switch 2. Doing the greatest favor, taking good ass care. And I'll see you all then. Bye!